Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending. If you want to speak about the throne speech, you could go right ahead. Agriculture, or the fact that we are celebrating 50 years of independence and government decided to abandon a portion of our history and start the independence celebration in our most bloodiest period of time. We on RealFM 91.9, we on YouTube, Facebook pages, and you are free to give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. This morning, the Governor General, Dame Cecile La Grenade, was delivering the throne speech. And yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome. Good to hear your voice.
I'm not picking up the throne speech here because I had the wrong station. So.
Finish. The throne speech, finish. It was not on RealFM.
I don't know if other caller could echo my sentiment, but I want to ask what they really want to name. What they want to name Maurice Bishop as? If it's because he was to overthrow a democratic government, or what it is, because I am saying I cannot really see the reason why, because I say probably as he first overthrew a democratic government. Otherwise, I want to say again too, if we have to name heroes in this country, we cannot leave out the late Sir Eric Matthew Gary. And we also cannot leave out our former Prime Minister, which is the present opposition leader. These two people have to be heroes of this country. And I have reasons for saying that, because Sir Eric Matthew Gary, when he was seeking independence for Grenada, the people like Maurice Bishop and others feel he was not the right person to achieve that goal. He get one of the hardest fights. I never seen something like that. Sir Eric Matthew Gary had an independence ceremony in Dark Night. You ever see? In Dark Night, which you call Dark Night, at Delco. As a little boy, I was one of the youngest executive members in the Grenadian United Labour Party at the time. Sir Eric had a Delco to give current at York House those days, York House. Those days. Imagine having the Queen representative, Mr. Bicken. I can't forget, the man's name was Mr. Bicken. The Queen sent a representative. She did not come. She sent a representative. And this man had us to speak without proper PA system. I could remember when he was trying to make his address, the Delco cut off. I had to take a string to give the late ASP Simon McDonald's deceased. He was a ASP from Montreal. To start back the Delco to give back current. This man is a hero. The man decided he's independent from Grenada, in spite of what? Bishop and his gang had the New Jubilee movement. They have the influence on schools, especially McDonald College setters. When parents believe the children was at school most time, the children in town in the hot sun demonstrating, Gary must go, Gary must go. This was instituted by Bishop and his gang. I was the lone student used to stay in the classroom. Those days, the Attorney General, Mr. Hubert Squide, said to Sir, we had to give this little guy police protection because the children fight. The teachers never told the children not to fight with me. Children said, we don't want no dirty gay guys in the school, you get out. And some of them decide to fight with me in the school. I don't know if some of the parents was aware of the fact. All this thing went on. Sir Eric is a hero. So I hope they know that's a number one hero. And Mr. Pierre program not long enough if I have to go down to details of what our former Prime Minister has done for Grenada in his tenure. If I go to talk about infrastructure, I can't done. If I go to talk about expansion of education system, I cannot done. So probably I will have to do it bit by bit because your program, I have to give someone else a chance. So I don't know who want to echo the sentiment. So this is two national heroes what must be mentioned in this country. They have done a lot for this country. Thank you, sir.
Yes, scholar, it's very important. I want to also make mention of the fact that perhaps he was the only student in Grenada that they had to send police to guard you in the school. MacDonald College was so politicized. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Well, I too want to give support to what the caller said. I am delighted. I am blushing. I could listen to him all day. I mean, he's preaching the gospel truth. I think maybe you as the host, as the generous host, may want to invite me and the caller on a program sometime.
I would love to have him, man. Have a open invitation.
May I beg you, please, to invite me and this caller onto your program, sir? May I beg you, please, you tell me the day?
You have an open invitation.
We can talk to the caller. I'm sure the caller would be happy to join me. And let's sing the praise. Let's sing the praise of the great one. We don't have to be ashamed because we supported the Grenada United Labour Party and a visionary leader, Eric Gary. And we know the struggle that the GLP went through to gain independence. And I'm hearing today that the people who did everything possible to disrupt the independence and to confuse and confuse the nation, today they want to dilute the legacy of this great man, and we say no to that. And I know that there's this party sometimes have this. They have this animosity towards the GLP and Eric Gary, and I'm wondering why. But we shall not be moved, caller. We shall continue to speak up. And I want to say how brave you are, because it's not fashionary to stand up and talk about the late great Eric Gary today. But let's do it. Maybe the host might be willing to have us on sometime, so we could combine our stories and move on sometime. Yes, man. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I can't get into all the issues on the phone.
Yes, my brother.
We have to sit in the thing because it's not just the October 19th thing. We have agriculture to discuss. We have the minimum wage and the increase in minimum wage for farm labor, and how that's going to pan out. Whether we're going to see more imported agriculture stuff coming into the country. Whether it would be the final nail in agriculture coffin. Whether or not this government will set up a agricultural transformation fund that will subsidize labor for farmers around the country to encourage them to get back to the land. Because one may say that when farmers used to say that the cross program was competing with their efforts to resurrect agriculture because they couldn't pay the $49 or the $50 that the government was paying on the cross program. Now that it has reached 60, I don't think it would be any better. But of course, those are things that we could discuss, and we could maybe advise the government that they need to set up a transformation fund, put a $20 million in agriculture so that people wishing to get back to the land, those who want to go to the lands and they can't afford to pay $60 a day, because most of the farmers are broke, and hence the reason why the lands are in high wood. most of the reason today why we're seeing cabbage and lettuce coming out all the way from Canada and so forth. That's some of the reason why we see green bananas is $2 a pound and $2.50 rising since Ivan. So we need to talk about a lot. So maybe what we have to do a sit down. The phone can't do it. So thank you so much, bro.
Yes, my brother, thank you, and good to hear your voice. And he said, yes, the previous caller perhaps is the only individual as a student that they had to send police to guard him in school. Because perhaps even the teachers wanted to beat him up. Because in those days, he was standing up as a wall for Gary. And he was the youngest member on the executive of the Gulf Party. And he was the one given the task to start the Delco, to pull the string, to start the Delco. And the revolution hunted him down. They didn't manage to get him, but they got his brother. They take that, harass his mother as they terrorize the people of Montreat. Maurice Bishop was a very vengeful man. Very vengeful. And he was a coward. Maurice Bishop was the only leader in Grenada that hid behind women and children. Every time he went on a demonstration, he made certain that there was women and children in it. He used to send vehicles to the schoolhouse to encourage, to implore, to bring the children from the schoolhouse. So while they were saying all sorts of wicked things about Eric Gary, they were confident that Gary police would not attack the children. Even some demonstrators begged them, don't cost so much upon the children. Even on the last minute, when Maurice Bishop was released from house arrest, he used the children. He used the children to go on the foot. Instead of going in the market square and address the nation, Bishop used the children and went on the foot and used the children as protection. But he forget, it wasn't Gary he was dealing with. He was dealing with those same military that he made. That he told Christianity is the opium of the people. There was no Christianity in them. There was no compassion. He had a pregnant woman there. He never encouraged her, get out on the foot. Maurice Bishop cloaked himself with children. He's a coward. In the Central Committee, when a fundamental issue was raised on joint leadership, Maurice Bishop abstained. He didn't even have the guts to take side. 3 individuals vote against. Maurice Bishop abstained. He's one of the political leaders in Grenada that was a coward, a weak manager and a coward, but a great orator. And people love him because of his oratory skills. But he was a coward. He was no hero. He was a coward. During the 4.5 years, over 3,000 people was in jail without charge, without trial, without an opportunity to defend themselves. More than 3,000 to 4,000 left this country. They had to flee the country to avoid being in prison. And Maurice Bishop supervised over the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. He was never a hero. If you want a hero, Eric Matthew Gary is the hero. Gary never called women and children to demonstration. Never did. He went with men. He said the roughest of the rough that come to his demonstration, not women. And even when the British battleship had him here, he showed no fear. Not Maurice Bishop. Bishop was a coward. So if you want a hero in Grenada, is Eric Matthew Gary, Keith Mitchell. That's the two heroes you get from the political arena. But if you want more, Chubal Uriah Buzz Butler. If you want one from the entertainment industry, well, the mighty Sparrow is a Grenadian. He's the best Calypsonian that passed in Grenada. And Chubal Uriah Buzz Butler, he spent 8 years in jail, but he was a fighter. And a number of the Grenadians in the political that came back in Grenada also functioned with Chubal Uriah Buzz Butler. But you see, the Maurice Bishop gang, and I like how my brother put it, the gang always sit down and plan lies and plan propaganda. And the same thing the National Democratic Congress is doing. When they select October 19, they plan it is by design. They hope the discussion to remain for the 4.5 years of the coup d'etat, when they experimented with revolution to see if they could amass sympathy for bestowing or conferring on Maurice Bishop heroship. Maurice Bishop was no hero. He was one of Grenadian political criminals. And he was a coward. He hid behind women and children. But the telephone lines are open. The number to call is 4420175. We had the Chone speech. The government is planning 50 years of celebration. And they're already tampering with history. I always say I don't care much about history in school, you know. I would not encourage those that I have influence on to waste time with history in school. Because when monkey writes his story, monkey always right. The Prime Minister set up a committee to look at the heroes, but I make sure I'm certain he is the one that's going to submit the names. The committee is just a white elephant, a waste of time. In the same way, he set up a committee for marketing board and engage in discussion with people about the life of marketing board. And I said it was a sham. I said the consultation was a sham because government had already made up their mind. The Prime Minister of Grenada had already made up his mind that he's getting rid of marketing board. And while one of his ministers, Andy, was championing the cause of marketing board, he wasn't aware that the Prime Minister already made up his mind. So the committee was a sham. And individuals must not be on committee and be a dumb, driven cattle. Don't let nobody use you on a committee. In the same way, those individuals they claim on the committee to determine who are the heroes of Grenada, the decision is already made. You only use as a sham. So clearly, we're going to continue to express our views on it. October 19 was placed so that the discussion would be on the revolution. The discussion would be on the revolution and not on the actions of the two political heroes. The two political heroes in Grenada is Eric Matthew Gary and Keith Mitchell. If you want a sports hero, yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Afternoon. Mr. Pierre, you say something there, and I believe you 100%. You know, especially the Prime Minister, you know, you come and say something, but his mind already made up. What are you doing? You go just show that thing outside there, like Even it's so transparent and they work, they doing that, what they should be doing.
He want to legitimize his action. That's why he formed the committee.
Exactly.
But these individuals and the committee must have some self-respect. And don't let themselves be used.
When you check what's going on, everything the man say he put up both different different board members in different entities. But what happened? He superseded the committee that he put up. Members of the board committee, he superseded it. When you look at the marketing board, look at the Grand Development Bank.
Well, the chairman moved out from market, resigned.
Exactly.
He realized that is a sham.
That's a sham because you're putting people in the position, but then why should you put people in position? Then you doing what you want. You don't adhere to what they say. So what is the purpose of having the people there? What is the purpose of having them just to receive a money? Receive a money and don't let them do the work. So pay again. I heard something about cricket. Yes, cricket come, and if you have cricket come, I hear this about World Cup cricket. I know when NMP in government, whatsoever cricket that taking place, even in the Caribbean, and Grenadian will get a greater cricket match. But that's all. Even it's alleged. There are some games that took place here. I think football, and the fine grain because of the condition of the stadium. You are not fit. Where are the sports ministers? Where are they? They don't look at that, Mr. Pierre.
The sports minister bouncing children and selling cars.
No, that's something wrong. Like they may only day for the money, but if they know or they don't know what they have to do. According to Dr. Mitchell, they need to also go in a training school to know how to go on.
Well, it's too late for that now.
They're too late.
You can't change.
The time change and they arrive and they get big shot now. They don't attend for that. They attend for money, traveling, and do weakness to people. So pay have a blessing.
One just have to pray that other members of these small islands in the OECS do not follow Grenada and select political neophytes to run your country. You're going to ruin your country. So I don't know. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, it seems like you present a contradiction to children or anybody is listening when you say that you don't like the whole idea of teaching history in school, when at the same time you are giving people the history of Maurice Bishop and the revolution, which is to quite an extent very true, what you are saying, right? But if people don't want to listen to history or whatever version of history that is presented to them by whoever, which is so sometimes distorted anyway, at least you have evidence of something to take a look at. You know, whatever the person is presenting as evidence. For example, if you read the book of Steve Biko, his situation as he ended up in custody and what was happening to him, what they did to him. If you didn't have an inquest where the history will come out, then we would know exactly how dangerous and stupid or evil the apartheid system was in South Africa. So you need to sometimes get some kind of a way of going into history and teaching it to people as to the version of it and the presentation of it is what is the matter. Because I think sometimes, they distort the version. Because actually the revolution version is very much distorted. I have not read the book that Doctor who has written. There's one of the books written. I was part of writing some one of them books on them, but I never read any of them. I spoke for maybe about an hour and a half to the person. That person was doing research for that. Now you need to go into it. So to tell people that or especially children here, that history is like a waste of time in school, basically that's what you're saying. It's not a good thing. But the thing is that I listened to the throne speech. And in the throne speech, Maurice Bishop is referred to as a matter. Now, how you go about defining a matter in the given situation? They're saying that Maurice Bishop died for the cause of the people. The very people who killed him were part of the whole situation. So that whole thing is a serious anomaly and contradiction to quite an extent. So to unravel the actual definition for the revolution in a sense, as to whether it was good or bad, or that Maurice Bishop fit into the good part. Is what is the question here? I read I had the pair. I don't know how much people got a compilation of the minutes as it happened during the quarrel of the revolution, especially. The CIA, the American people, when they came down here, they collected all that they could get relative to what the development was that brought on the situation as it culminated in October 19. And the kind of things that have been said by Bishop in that document, in that compilation of documents. Bishop, as you sometimes describe him, Bishop, I like Bishop, and Bishop was in a sense, my friend. Bishop was evil. There's no question about that. Beside the obvious evidence of the 3,000 and more people who were jailed, the torture and the concentration camp in Hopeville and so on. Hopeville is a literal concentration camp, similar to the Nazi concentration camp in Poland and in other parts of Europe. Hopeville was a concentration camp. Maurice Bishop made a statement where he said, "You don't see how these guys end up on the hill? All I do is just sign a paper and up they go." In other words, he saying no trial. The very thing that brought him into prominence in Grenada was defending the defenseless, you might say, in Grenada. That's what he used to present himself as. I was there. I was a part of this whole thing. So I'm not one of those who hearing from those people who are doing study now for the doctorate and so on, and coming and present a whole set of information that might not be true because of their perception and their version of it, or their interpretation of it, and they present it in books. I was there. I was even a part of the NGM party before 1976. I left the party in 1976. And not just a part of the party, I was one of the executive members of the country. I was one of the executive members of the country. Maybe you might say the youngest executive member, like the guy who keeps telling you about being the youngest or the young member. That's my good friend. That's my good friend too. The thing about it is that I've been there, done this. So Maurice Bishop, you talk about somebody who knows Maurice Bishop integrally. In 1974, I sat on the couch that Maurice Bishop was sitting on. It was 4 of us on that couch, planning to take over the country. In 1974, we were planning to take over the country, just like what happened in 1979. Same thing was supposed to happen in 1974. The night we went up to the bush, something happened. We had to get scattered. All of us would have been dead by now. So that's another version of it. But the thing I'm saying to you, Mr. Pierre, understanding the history is critical for children to know, for anybody who is not aware, particularly, who has not been there. That's what you do history for. That's what you do history, to resent history, being taught in school, and then to say that you have your version of it. People have to listen to you. People have to listen to others with versions. It is very critical to understand, listen to everybody's version.
Yeah.
And you, as the individual, do your analysis and make sense of what is going on and recognize what has happened, how it actually should have been interpreted from your version too.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about it is that I listened to that speech. This speech sounds very good. But hello, we live in a Grenada where the reality is evident in front of us. All kind of fancy promises and all kind of fancy expectations isn't going to cut it when the reality on the ground shows different. And that's what is showing up in that speech again, once again.
Yeah.
I'll call back if necessary.
Yes,
okay. Be good.
Yes, you see, the color is quite a lot of different issues, good important issues, but it's a lot of them. So the number to call is 4420175. My point is, when I send children going to school, your child going to school must be educated, must be trained to be competitive on the job market. And it makes no sense wasting time with monkey story. When monkey writes his story, monkey always right. Teach your children about your history. And if they want to bestow, instead of history in school, let your child do biology. Too much of our children exiting school and they're not doing mathematics. They can't pass it. They're not doing biology, physics. They're not doing chemistry. They are not offered a foreign language. They're telling you they're doing history. And that is monkey story. When monkey writes his story, monkey always right. When we finish with Dickens' history, a coward would turn a hero. An individual who was responsible for the imprisonment of over 3,000 people. And 3,000 to 4,000 people had to flee Grenada. And castrating of people and murder of people. They would make him a hero. They would confer heroship on him. And if no one speaks, that would be the history. Yes, nothing is wrong with that. But don't have your child waste time in school and be sidetracked with monkey story. When monkey writes his story, monkey always right. The number to call is 442-0175. Those of you who managed to hear the Chone speech, is there anything in it exciting for agriculture? This government, the National Democratic Congress, is the worst government in the country where agriculture is concerned. They are the biggest talkers, but they have the worst track record in any political group in our country where agriculture is concerned. And after about a year and a half in government, under 2 years, I see nothing that they have done to change that position. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
scholar, welcome.
The last word you just used there have me.
The worst government that ever passed in Grenada, where agriculture is concerned.
Right.
And after the last 2 years, I see nothing that they do that's going to change that record.
Okay, so you put me on track. I have me on track for what I was about to say.
You know the reason why they cut down Belvedere nutmeg and plant banana?
Well, they was advised by organization.
Well, everybody in agriculture in Grenada was disagreed with that program. Did you agree with that?
No, I didn't agree with it.
You know why they fuck up around the lake to plant organic banana without organic manure?
I don't know why they did, but I know they did it.
You understand?
Actually, when BJ was there as manager.
You understand the rationale?
Yes, when they was planting.
You understand the rationale in firing 30 workers from Granby Estate?
No.
You understand why they're sabotaging the source of industry by cutting out on the people who are managing the scaly insect?
No. Well, let me see. I am concerned about part of the thing that you're speaking about,
Punch.
Because one, I listened to the budget, to the
Chone speech.
And excellent presentation.
The intellectuals are doing with it.
Right.
That was good at writing.
Right. So I am saying that was excellently done. A lot of things that was said in the Chone speech is questionable. It's questionable. You have to be a real analyst to tear them apart, but it's questionable. But something that holds me is that the Prime Minister said, the Chone speech said it, and they keep saying that they have not found any report at all concerning the search for oil in Grenada. And they have set up a committee now headed by Mr.
They said that in the Chone speech?
Yes,
okay.
yes. And they have set up a committee now headed by Mr.
Richard Duncan?
Mr. Nazim Buck, Richard Duncan is on the committee too.
Okay.
But Nazim Buck is the chairman of that committee. And they are going to set up an inquiry to look in. And that have me wondering a little bit. How could, after all the work that was done, after we actually saw the rigs and things outside it, believe that there is no information?
Well, let us wait on the...
Wait, that was what was said. No information.
All these things is nice sidetrack, you know.
Well, I don't know if it's sidetrack. What I'm saying, it comes in the report. It comes in the Throne speech. And I'm saying, I can't see how that could sound well for you to set up that and they have no information. What you're saying, that the information was hidden, or Dr. Mitchell and Mr. Bowen go with that information? After all what was said, you tell me no documentation and that? Something have to be over wrong. Something have to be over wrong. If all
you don't over wrong, you just wrong. Something have to be wrong.
But he wrong too much time.
Yeah.
If it's so. Because you can't tell me that the work that was done, that everybody saw, the rigs and them out there and saw what was happening, and to tell us no information. Nobody could give any information.
But remember,
they can't find it.
Caller, remember, Deacon Mitchell said nothing was done in Grenada after the revolution. So right now, all Deacon had to do is to justify nothing. And what we need to do is to point out what was done.
Yeah, I agree.
That should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, but I'm saying in a Throne speech and that come up and you set up a committee, it is cause for concern.
Well, it's no cause, and then the committee, sometimes the committee just has marketing board committee, white elephant.
Even talk about marketing board.
A fake group.
And why I'm believing it's a fake group, I'm glad you said that, because hear what he said, that by the middle of next year, marketing board will come in, the new marketing board will come into existence. So again, it's fooling us down the road.
It's fooling itself. The Mitchell is a fake.
Well, you're fooling itself because Mr. Pierre, there are a lot of people in this country still that are gravitating and are holding that gentleman very extra tight.
You see, we always let intellectuals trick us. If you don't feel right, you don't feel right. If we don't feel it makes sense, we don't feel it makes sense. If it's not logical, it's not logical.
I am concerned about what is being said there, and I'm saying that it appears that Mr. Dick know how to hold at people, because the things
he's an intellectual.
Right, the things he says.
The man is a bright man.
He catching on to people.
He's a bright man.
For concern.
Yeah.
That is my thing this evening. Some of the things. I mean, just imagine you tell us marketing board are coming into existence by this year. No, we hear nothing more about marketing board. We're hearing that by next year it will be. No, we all these things that were said for agriculture. No, nothing have been implemented yet. But you
hear any other thing in the Throne speech for agriculture?
Yes, I heard a lot. But what I'm saying, a lot of what we heard should have been started already, based on what was said.
Did you hear anything that make you believe it's something new?
No, that's why that's why I'm telling you that a lot of things that he said no is things that was supposed
same to start old intellectual bramble.
So they're going to catch us again. Whether we like it or not, we are being caught again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Remember, the call is 4420175, and you could call us and say your piece. We always concerned about agriculture, and people always set up themselves where agriculture is. Grenada exports cocoa, nutmeg, fish, and saucer. The government of the day must do what is necessary. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
I was very, very much disappointed on Friday. It was Friday, yes, when the Prime Minister in the United Nations made a speech. I tuned to all the radio stations in Grenada, not one of them got that speech. I so happened to hear about 12 minutes of the speech in a program I usually listen on Sunday, on 12 o'clock on Sundays. And what was funny again at the same time, there was a whole other thing about what they call it, independence, which is a sham in any case. Grenada is not an independent country. That's a fact. I
Color
could
is
debate
an
that in
excellent.
another
And that,
way.
you said that the last time,
But
and I didn't respond to your talent. That
but
you joined Mr.
in
Rulu.
they were trying to justify the $7 million and all the programs that they have for the independence celebration, as they call it. They spent most of the time so that only about 12 minutes was left to present the Prime Minister's speech, which would have lasted over more than 12 minutes. So I hear about 12 minutes in it. He sounded very good this time around, better than he did in the first speech that he gave to the United Nations last year.
I want to go and try
But
to
surprisingly,
champion
in a
Haiti.
way, he made two mistakes. Maybe in his exuberance, he referred to the president of the United Nations Assembly as Mr. Speaker twice. I don't know if there was a chuckle in the process, but this time around, he sung very good. Now, understand that this man, like I keep mentioning, you keep mentioning, your last caller said something about it to an extent, that the man is very, very, very subtle. He's very deceitful. On the ground, when you see what actually is happening in Grenada, experiencing what is happening in Grenada, it doesn't look very much like what you hear in the tone speech right now. And it doesn't look very much like he presents Grenada to the world. The actual happenings, the feelings on the ground, as one might say, what you feel, what you see, the experience is not as rosy and bright as, I mean, if the whole thing is being done to make people feel good, I'm not sure if they're accomplishing anything in the process, except those who are blind.
Those
The
who are
reality on the ground
supporting
doesn't look as good as the shown speech look, doesn't look as good as what the Prime Minister presented to the United Nations. Because the man is very subtle, as I've noticed over and over, very subtle, the guy is brilliant in truth, deceitful, brilliant. So is the devil. People need to understand that. I have no apology in saying it that way.
Okay.
The simplicity of the guy fools people head. The guy is brilliant, similar to the devil.
All right. Yes, the number to call is 442-0175. Yes, caller. Yes, caller Punch.
Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre. Yeah, Mr. Pierre. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
For days now, I've been listening to you. And you're begging them, when the guy call and say that the NMP can do anything, call and counter him. Make them know what NMP did. And I don't know if I joined the program late yesterday, but after a guy called and said a few things NMP did, I didn't hear he call yesterday. So that means he coming to terms, well, that means something has been done.
Yeah, I think sometimes what we have to do is to educate individuals and provide information for them. Because they may not know what was done. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if he say nothing hasn't been done for 9.5 years, they couldn't say that since after Bishop, nothing has been done, and you're talking about 40-something years. So
1983, yeah.
He's still laying,
Yeah.
Okay, but that's my point.
Yes, yes. I think we have to provide information for one another. We cannot assume because somebody speak, they know. For instance, Deacon is a young man vis-a-vis the revolution and the period of Garyism. And sometimes what you learn in school is tampered history. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yeah.
Pierre. Mr. Pierre, I want to congratulate the present government for investing $27.2 million in the agriculture sector. I want to congratulate them for that. In other words, what they'll be doing, they'll be investing in manufacturing, frozen food and things to be frozen and so on, with variable transportation to bring it where the destination is. I want to congratulate them for that. Mr. Pierre, the Throne speech say that in the first quarter of 2024, the marketing board will be reconstituted under a new name. That is great when it happens. That will be great. And I think that will be the best thing ever happened in Grenada. Mr. Pierre, the former government, they had 9 years to fix the agricultural sector. They don't do nothing. The chocolate factory, what they're talking about it, that was done under the NDC. The NDP do nothing in agriculture. I could both tell you that as a fact, they had done nothing. All they do just tack and tack and tack. They had all the seats in parliament. What they did in agriculture, nothing. I want to praise this government for trying to revive the agriculture sector by planting more spices, encouraging the people to plant more spices in this country. Mr. Pierre, that is the greatest thing that will happen to Grenada in this country, the agriculture sector, when it starts going. And I hope by next year it will be in full force, full blast. Mr. Pierre, you have a good day, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother. Caller said the government invests 27.2 million, or they're planning to invest that in manufacturing. So frozen fruits. So when you have your fruits, you could store it. So like dry season, or we could get transportation and M&IB. So they intend to do that. They have not done it yet, but my caller says it's the greatest thing, and I welcome his call. The number to call is 4420175. Yes, caller, punch. You there, caller? Yes, where agriculture is concerned, the government should be more decisive about agriculture. And the government could take the lead in agriculture because the Ministry of Agriculture is a farmer. They have Granby Estate, Bellevue Estate, Mount Rule Estate, and some other small portions of land. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes,
where
caller.
the teaching hospital is proposed to be put in Calivini there, prime agricultural land. That's where Cadi is, you know.
They're going to mash
That's
up
the area
that.
where Cadi is. Prime agricultural land. On top of that, there is a feasibility being done, which seems to suggest to quite an extent, and it's obvious in that area, that the water table there is very high. So the whole issue of putting such a high infrastructure or large infrastructure based on in that area is very difficult. As to whether that is going to be practically successful is a big question. So some $27 million that will be spent, I think, there too, to acquire that land and so on. And remember, at the same time, Cadi will be pushed out.
Yes,
How do you explain this in a contradiction?
difficult to
How
explain.
do you explain it?
Caller, how
How
do
do you
you
explain such a
explain cutting
contradiction?
down Belvedere nutmeg? You can explain this thing. The National
These are the things that
Democratic
people need to really
Congress.
understand. Yeah, man.
Caller, the Congress does something you can't explain. They
Too much
speak about
contradictions.
agriculture and they're going after prime agricultural land to put a teaching hospital.
There are a lot of farmers beside Cadi in that area then.
And they're going to
A
raise
lot of
the
farmers, you know.
whole price of land
Hello,
going to raise sky. Turn real estate.
Mr. Pierre, this is a place I made show a few months ago. I went and that they wasn't even talking about hospital to be put there, you know. I was trying to understand that whole area. I went and took a look at that area a few months ago.
Yeah,
So
we
when I
have
talk
one or
about
two
prime
good
agricultural
livestock.
land, there are a lot of farmers there who would be displaced. Cadi will be displaced. The water table is very high. As to be able to put large infrastructure there is a very difficult thing. Take care.
Yes, scholar. You see, when I tell you the National Democratic Congress is the worst government where agriculture is concerned in Grenada in the last 8 decades, every time they come in power, they do serious damage. There is nothing positive that they get from agriculture, but a lot of talk. Nobody in agriculture No extension officer in agriculture understand why they do what they do. No one in extension officer in agriculture understand why the government does what they do. They did not understand why the government cut down Belvedere nutmeg. They argued Belvedere is the first place they plant nutmeg in Grenada. We could use it as an ecotourism site. That banana going to come down with too much disease in that higher belt. Banana wouldn't do that well. But irrespective of what they say, the government refused. They cut down the Belvedere nutmeg and plant a 9-month crop. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. We lost the caller. Culture. We're talking about agriculture. That is your baby, agriculture. Give us a call. Tell us if you're satisfied with the chosen speech, mentions of things in agriculture. If you are hopeful, yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, caller, welcome.
you are speaking about the teaching hospital. Mr. Pierre, I could own a whole acre of land to get this thing done. Because that would be one of the most important things in Grenada.
What you call a acre land to do?
I could own a whole acre of land to put the hospital.
1 acre land?
Not 29 acres.
90 acres?
Right, 90
Not
acres.
29.
I clear it up to put a massive infrastructure thing like
For
that.
teaching hospital?
Nothing in Grenada more important than that.
That wouldn't help the health system, caller. Because it will not contribute to primary health care. And the government track record is that they don't, every time they come in power, they are unable to provide basic medication for health. With that track record, people must be concerned. They must be concerned, caller. Every time the NDC come in power, the condition in the hospital deteriorates. In 2008, they met a structure. Government started to build in the hospital. They never touch it. After 2013, the government continued to work on it, and now it is operational. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes,
when
sir.
some people don't understand, and especially that caller doesn't understand the concept of food security, and in our given limited land space in
How you know
Grenada,
they don't understand?
the Calivini area, or where they're thinking of putting that hospital there, is nice flat land compared to the very hilly terrain we have in this country, where people do agriculture on the terrain. But the difficulty to plow and whatever, and mechanize agricultural production. This is an ideal area, similar to Shambo.
And that area, the road,
University
it does some
Patrick
flooding in the road too. And we
This
have
guy
some
say you
flooding in
cut
that
down
area too.
29 acres of land just to put a hospital.
90 acres, not 90
There's no
acres.
guarantee that it make a difference.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, when I'm on WhatsApp, so I can hear you really.
Okay, go ahead. Well, don't ask question. Just, you see, then you have to punch.
Yeah.
When you
I know what you mean. But that's it. I can't punch if you keep talking while I'm talking. And the caller.
Go ahead, caller. Caller, go ahead.
You must understand it. Anyway, people need to understand the value of food security in this day and age, given the conditions in this world. The Ukraine crisis that brought on us that we couldn't get something and not only us, all other countries. That kind of thing is very critical. So that you're going to cut down prime lands to put a hospital that has no guarantee to be anything different. Absolute nonsense.
Okay.
I don't mind the teaching hospital, but put it in somewhere else. Take care.
Okay, thank you. The number to call is 4420175. I always encourage people to punch, because if you start to speak as if you're asking me question, or if you want me to make comment, then I'll come in and make comment. If you just make your statement, then I'll listen to you. Yes, the government track record in agriculture is not good, and it seems that they're functioning as if they don't have an engine, they don't have a piece of seine, and they don't have an O. If you're in the sea and you have nothing to command your boat, then you live up to the whim and fancy of nature. You may end up in the harbor in St. George's, or you may end up on the Rock in Conference. You may lose your boat and all the occupants. So we build, that is why government must have some direction and some plan. And I know the government don't have nothing, they're whooping. But maybe you could concentrate on the government estates. You want to plant spice? Plant 20 or 60 or 100 acres of spice on the government estates. That might be a good thing to do. Invest in this industry that's making some, the CMOS industry. We started years ago pushing CMOS. The government, the previous government, invested a lot in training and encouraging people to go. Continue with that. Continue with the CMOS industry. Push the flowers industry. We've been winning gold in the Chelsea Flower Show. The orchids are doing very well. Continue to push in this area. The beekeeping industry, even if we increase production by 1,000%, we cannot satisfy the market. A bottle of honey in Grenada is over $50. Invest in that area in Queen Waring. So the government have to remember, we export soursop, nutmeg, cocoa, and fish. Government must invest in these areas. Hold discussion with the farmers in this area and do better. And we come to the end of our program, and we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And who knows, we may well talk about agriculture again. Thank you very much.